Hey guys, it's InoueFlame and welcome to my top 10 Generation 1 Pokemon. Now, this video is a response to one of the latest videos on the CaffCast at the time of recording this. Caff and the guys from ChrisCrossMedia, I think their channel was called. Yeah, Caff and them were discussing their top 10 favorite Pokemon from Generation 1. And I figured, hey, this is something I want to join in on because I am a big Pokemon fan. I played the first two generations when I was a kid, and I've played little bits of subsequent generations except for the newer games, but the first two generations will always be special to me. So I thought I'd make my own top 10 list and see how it stacks up against theirs. So if you want to watch their video, I will be leaving a link in the description to it, and I will put up an annotation somewhere on the screen where you can watch it. But without further ado, let's get on into my top 10 Generation 1 Pokemon. So kicking off the list at number 10 is Cubone. Now the main reason I'm interested in Cubone is because of the story behind it, the lore behind the Pokemon. Every single one of its Pokedex entries makes some form of mention of Cubone's dead mother, either to the fact that it wears its mom's skull, or to the fact that it often cries for its dead mother, which is really sad. Now this dead mother, as to who this dead mother is sort of a subject of contention. In the games, obviously, it's the Marowak that Team Rocket killed, whose spirit haunts Pokemon Tower in Lavender Town. But there is a very prevalent fan theory that states that Cubone is actually a baby Kangaskhan, like one of the babies that Kangaskhan carries in its pouch, and that its dead mother is the mother Kangaskhan that was killed by Team Rocket poachers in the Safari Zone. Well, either way, Cubone's story is a sad one, and it's one that kind of makes me feel very protective of little Cubone, and makes me want to kind of protect it and shelter it and raise it, at least until it turns into a Marowak and can fight for itself. Anyway, next, moving on to number 9, we have Scyther. Now, Scyther is one Pokemon that I didn't really have much experience with in the games because it's pretty rare. I think you can only get it in the Safari Zone, and in the second generation it's only available during the bug catching competition, which is when I caught my first Scyther. But the reason I like Scyther, number 1, is because of its Pokemon trading card, because it's got colorless attacks, it's got a free retreat cost, it's a really decent card, and also because of its appearance in the anime. If you watch the anime, there's an episode in which they go to a place called Dark City, which has two competing gyms. One gym has an Electabuzz and Strong's Pokemon, the other gym has a Scyther. And while it's alright to watch the Electabuzz running around, thunder punching people, going all over the place, it's still way more epic to watch that Scyther running after people with its blades upraised. Oh, that's probably like a terrifying sight, which just makes Scyther that much more awesome. Number 8 on the list is Ditto. Ditto is not really a favorite Pokemon of mine when it comes to the game, as far as the battling goes, because it's not really great for battling other than that it can transform into other Pokemon. But it is fairly useful for breeding. I do use it a lot for breeding, like when I was breeding Eevees in the second generation, Ditto was my go-to Pokemon. But it made a fantastic appearance in the anime, in the episode involving Duplica and the House of Imite, where they parody Team Rocket's theme song. But no, the Ditto there could not only transform into other Pokemon, it could also transform into inanimate objects. It could transform into a photo, a book, and even a flipping cannon at the end, which is wonderful. So, which is why Ditto does have a place on this list. Next up, we've got number 7, which is Growlithe. Now, the reason I like Growlithe is very simple. It's a fire type, it's a puppy, enough said. I like fire types, I like dogs. That's pretty much it, really. Plain and simple as that. Arcanine is pretty cool as well, but as you'll see later, Arcanine is not really my favorite dog type Pokemon. Next up at number 6, we have Jigglypuff. Now Jigglypuff, again like Ditto, is not especially good in the games, but in the anime it is hilarious. Now the Jigglypuff in the anime just wants to sing. It loves singing. It just wants an audience to hear its voice. Unfortunately, as is the case with Jigglypuff's songs, once you hear it, you fall asleep. And when Jigglypuff looks up from its song to see everybody asleep, it gets angry. And when it gets angry, out comes the marker, and the scribblings all over faces start. I could have worded that better. But yeah, Jigglypuff is a really funny character. I used to really enjoy that joke in the series. So, moving on to number 5, we have got Ninetales. Remember when I said Arcanine is not exactly my favorite dog-type Pokemon? Well, that's where Ninetales comes in. Technically, it's not a dog, it's a fox, but still, it's a canid type of animal, and I like canid type animals. And fire types, which are cool. Ninetales is gorgeous. It is beautiful. Both its shiny form and its regular form, simply fantastic to look at. And I also like the fact that it's based on the Japanese myth of the nine-tailed Kitsune, or fox demon. So those are two of the major reasons I like Ninetales so much. Next up, moving on, we have Haunter at number 4. Now, Haunter usually ends up being my strongest ghost-type Pokemon of the first generation games, simply because I didn't really have a lot of friends who played Pokemon, so I didn't have people to trade it to evolve it into Gengar. But still, I really like Haunter because it's still a fairly good ghost Pokemon, and it's got some pretty nice scenes in the anime, especially the Haunter that follows Ash, from Lavender Town to fight Sabrina, but ends up just goofing off somewhere else. I found that really funny, and it was one of the most enjoyable episodes in the series. So, on to number 3, we have Gyarados. Gyarados will have a special place in my heart as the first shiny that I ever caught. Technically the first shiny that everybody else ever caught in the second generation games at the Lake of Rage. But Gyarados is actually also based on a Japanese or Chinese, I'm not sure, either Chinese or Japanese myth of koi fish that swim up the Yellow River and jump through a waterfall. And it's a tough journey, but they jump through a waterfall and they can turn into dragons, which is basically the same story with Magikarp and Gyarados. Magikarp is a really weak Pokemon, and I don't have the patience to train it, but once it evolves, it becomes this really strong, dragony water creature, which is just so powerful, and that is Gyarados. And let's face it, surfing around on a angry bright red Gyarados can beat surfing on a Lapras any day of the week for me. Next up, we have number 2 on the list, Bulbasaur. Now, I know Caff might get pissed off at me for putting Bulbasaur at number 2, but I don't know, I was just never really a big fan of any of the starters in Generation 1. Back when I was a kid, I used to always pick Charmander because I like fire Pokemon, but Charmander was not really the best starter. Ultimately, it turned out that Bulbasaur was the best starter for me because it's really good in the first few gyms. Like, it's good against Brock, it's good against Misty, it's not too bad against Lieutenant Surge, but against Erika is when it starts to sort of falter. But then by the time you reach that point, you would probably have caught other Pokemon which could make up for the deficit. So Bulbasaur still ends up being a fairly good starter, and I'd say it's my favorite first generation starter, despite it not being a fire type. And finally, number 1, we have Butterfree. Butterfree will always be special as far as Generation 1 goes because of both the games and the anime. In the anime, Butterfree is the first Pokemon that Ash catches, technically Caterpie, and he raises it until it evolves into a Butterfree, which he trades away, then gets back, but then which he ultimately has to release so that it can mate with other Butterfrees. And I remember Bye Bye Butterfree was the saddest episode of Pokemon for me. It actually made me cry when I watched it. And it kind of resonates with me because that's how I got my Butterfrees in the games. I remember when I first played Pokemon, I played Pokemon Yellow, and going up against Brock with a Pikachu is not the smartest idea. So what I ended up doing was I went into Viridian Forest, caught a level 6 Caterpie, and leveled it up all the way until it evolved into a Butterfree and learned Confusion. And that's what I ended up using it against Brock, and it beat him fairly easily. So there you have it, you guys. That is my top 10 Generation 1 Pokemon list. Now, if this had included Pokemon from Generation 2, my list would be slightly different because my top 2 Pokemon would have been Typhlosion, my favorite starter of all time, and Suicune, my first ever legendary. So, thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do leave it a like. Give me a comment telling me that you did, and also tell me what your top 10 list is, or what your favorite Pokemon is. Please, start the discussion. I would really enjoy seeing what you have to say. And also, please check out the description for more things that I have done, and subscribe for more things that I will do. And as usual, until the next video that I make, this is InoueFlame's signing off. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye!